Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment here, Christian's stopping by. We're going to talk some Badgers. This next segment is brought to you by Foreman's Hardware. They offer you everything from home essentials to farm supplies. House to farm, grills to drills, Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Kobe, or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them I sent you. Tell them Trade sent you. Get 5% off. All that Casa M spice, maybe some pellets for your smoker, maybe a Traeger itself. Maybe you need a green egg. I don't know what you need this time of year. Power tools. Maybe you're tearing something up. I don't want to know what you're doing, but get down to Foreman's Hardware. Grab your stuff down there. And tell them I sent you 5% off. All you need to know there. Christian is here tonight from Badger Backer. Christian, how we doing on this Wednesday?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing absolutely great right now. My Beats headphones that I got here are just giving out on me. It's like a whole thing right now. It's like echoing, but as long as you can hear me good, that's all that matters. I just have to hear the in between the echoes, what's going on your end there. So let the people know, just a little bit about you right off the top here. Let the people know a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm the author / founder of Badger Backer, just a fun newsletter I just decided to throw together this summer, and so far really enjoying it. So if you guys want to just stop by, check out some Wisconsin Badgers content, feel free to subscribe. I got free and paid subscriptions. That's about it. Just coming on every Wednesday, talking Badgers, having a good time.
Having a good time. That's all that matters. That's what we're here for. It's a good time right there. So the Badgers this last weekend. Let's try to talk some people into maybe if we can. I don't know where you're at. You were at a wedding this weekend. We were texting back and forth about this game, and you're like, I'm at a wedding, but I'm looking. It's ugly. You're like, I don't even know if I want to watch. But this game, 42-10, but it didn't feel like 42-10. It felt like it became 42-10. But that's not the actual story of the game. So I guess what was your biggest takeaways that you had from this one here?
Boy, I don't know if this team can play a full game, right? Even the Miami of Ohio game wasn't like complete, they didn't feel like they were in control the entire time, right? My Miami of Ohio MAC team, but then Middle Tennessee is one of the worst teams in all of the FBS, and we were struggling with them for a full half. So, not to get ahead of myself, but, what's the Alabama game going to look like on Saturday, right?
That's the biggest worry, and that's where I think a lot of Badger fans are at. Are like, this team once again came out flat, and we've seen this. We've lived this. This was last year. This is not anything different than what we saw. It might be better players, but we're seeing the same flat team coming out of the tunnel, and it's got to slowly get itself there. But the problem is against good teams, if it takes a half an hour or, half a game, you're already hosed. So that was what my worry was coming off the weekend there. So I would completely agree. Is like, can this team put halves together here? But let's start with a good one. We got our new little award we're going to give out. We got a couple different awards we give out along the show here, but we have our Foreman's Hardware. Who brought the tools over the weekend there? Christian, who brought the tools in your opinion to this game here? Who is your standout?
I think you have to go with Danny O'Neal, right? Maybe it's just chalk taking the quarterback, whatever. Like, when you got a sophomore quarterback coming in who's quarterback 2, already looks a lot better than Braden Locke ever did, right? And set an all-time Badgers record for most passing yards in his first ever start. That's not a bad place to start, right?
Yep. No, that was awesome. I loved what we saw to Danny O'Neal, and it actually. I will start right there. Let's start right there with Danny O'Neal's performance of the weekend, because I have a serious question. After watching that, does Billy Edwards for sure get the starting job back, in your opinion? Because, and this is just because, Danny O'Neal looked really good. Outside of a couple throws, he looked really good. He set record. We haven't seen, he set records. Didn't he set a record in this game for most pass yards or something? I don't know what it was. It was
in a first start, 283 yards.
That was impressive. And I know it's a Middle Tennessee team and everything like that, but you can grade him off the throws that he was making, and they were on target. They looked good. He was making timely throws. He can run the football. He can do all those things that you want him to do. He's scrappy. He seems like he can be a leader in the huddle. Honestly, Does Billy Edwards for sure get the starting job back, in your opinion? Or do we have to watch the Bama game first?
I think it's Billy Edwards. It's his job. Like Danny O'Neal looks good. He does, but I mean, again, Middle Tennessee State or Middle Tennessee and, Miami of Ohio. But I mean, once he got his feet under him in the Miami game, I feel like he still looked better than Billy Edwards did. But I don't know. I don't know. First game, who knows? But
Yep.
I think that's still Billy Edwards' job, but maybe he's on a shorter leash when he comes back. Maybe if he's really struggling or he can't move because of that knee that well, maybe they stick with Danny O'Neal. But I think right now, I actually kind of like Danny O'Neal going against Alabama more than I liked Billy Edwards, only because you saw what Florida State did with what's his name, Castellanos. I think he doesn't have soft L's. Anyways, the mobile quarterback killed them. And I mean, I think Billy Edwards is relatively mobile. Actually, he's not just like that typical. You look at him and think he's just a pocket passer, right?
Yep.
But I think he's actually more mobile than you think. But I think Danny O'Neal is even more mobile than he is.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I don't. I like that. I threw it after the first game. I threw the word gamer around. He doesn't look like he's a short quarterback. He doesn't look like a dude who's just going to throw it all over, But I think when the lights come on, he can make some plays happen. And obviously, we saw that against Middle Tennessee. But I think maybe some of his mobility can kind of help him against Alabama. And obviously, he's got some confidence right now going into it too. So right now, even if Billy Edwards was good to go for this week or even right on the edge there, I think if you're Wisconsin, you still go with Danny O'Neal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. And let's just say Danny O'Neal has a great game against Alabama. Does that change your perspective on it? Or are you still giving it? But let's just say, Badgers don't win, but Danny O'Neal keeps them in it. He leads some drives. They look good. Maybe he gets them out to a hot start and they maybe have a lead. And then, Alabama's just athleticism just takes over and they just beat the Badgers at the end. Is there a performance that kind of makes you go, I like where Danny O'Neal's at. I like where this offense is at under him. Maybe we stick with him. Is there any performance that puts you in that mindset? Or are you like, it's Billy Edwards' job until Billy Edwards loses that job?
I don't know if he can, obviously it's a team thing, but I think if he can make enough plays to keep it within 10 points, in my opinion, and he doesn't make any bad plays, he has a relatively clean game, no interceptions, no turnovers, completes 70% of his passes, something like that. Even if they're easy passes, just making the smart play, then yeah, I kind of all of a sudden, I think that would shift a little bit for me and be like, well, he's clearly playing well enough. I think that's even better than what we've seen out of Tanner Mordecai and Tyler Van Dyke when he was playing. He looked a lot better than he did anyways too. So
yep.
I don't know, I think if he does well enough against Alabama, depending on what you think is well enough, I think you got to roll with them, right?
Yeah, no, that's where I'm kind of at right now. Is it's like Billy Edwards could lose his job by not even being able to defend his job just because Danny O'Neal is playing that well. And it's not like Danny O'Neal's just some slough. He was a starting quarterback. He played well. He was up at the top of the nation there in freshman quarterback. He's a good quarterback. And it makes you feel good that you don't have Braden Locke behind a Billy Edwards.
Oh,
you have a guy like Danny O'Neal behind him who can step in and play a good quarterback. And that's what we're seeing right now. Maybe it's just a good thing at the end of the day that we know now Danny O'Neal's there. Maybe you have a package for him too. You never know. Maybe they throw some crazy stuff around where Danny O'Neal finds himself into a game where Billy Edwards starts. It could be something like that. You have it, and we'll see what they do moving forward here. So good performance, like you said, by Danny O'Neal in that one. But let's talk before we get to a break, and then we come back. We're going to talk more Badgers here. But let's talk about what was one of the bad in this game before we get to the break. And if you guys have any comments you want to mention or anything about the Badger game over the weekend here or coming up, let us know. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the Badgers over this last weekend. But this run game for the Wisconsin Badgers. And I'm not going to go because I saw some people across social media and they're like, oh, they just don't have good backs. No, Dillian Jones and Dupree are good backs. Kate Giacomelli is a good back. They have very good backs for the Wisconsin Badgers. Christian, this offensive line is not great.
Yeah, it's the line.
Yeah,
which sucks. It sucks saying that about Wisconsin offensive line, but they have 5 good starters. They have maybe one good, that I'm comfortable with, one good depth piece. And then all the depth after that just makes me complete. Obviously, that doesn't work, right? Having Colin Coverley there at right guard, true or redshirt freshman. But I mean, he wasn't even the worst one. It's Kerry Kadenko at center is like, I don't know. The few plays I got to watch on my phone at that wedding was, I don't know how many times it was a high snapper or go over Billy or over Danny O'Neal's head, or, just when he wasn't even expecting, it almost hits him in the face mask before he can, make somewhat of an athletic play and snag it out of the air. But that offensive line, man, is obviously, I think they're the big reason why we can't get our offensive line going. I mean, Tretch Kekahuna led with, 61 yards, and that was all in one rush. And then Vinny Anthony had 14 yards. Outside of that, Dylan Jones had 36 yards on 10 carries, so 3.6 yard average. Not great. So I think the offensive line is the big problem right now.
Doesn't it that if anybody wants to get upset at Luke Fickell, that'd be the one reason I'd be upset. Is you had Jeff Grimes coming in and this is what you got me. This is what you got me was this. And I just don't feel like they have guys, and I mentioned it to you. I said it. It's like they don't have guys who can get to the second level. I'm watching them. It's like you don't have guys getting to the second level. And I thought the end arounds were working because they have guys who can get out. They have guys who can get out on the outside and pull and get out and get in front of somebody. But that's about it. They don't have road graders. They don't have anything like that. Dupree, Dylan Jones, I can't tell you how many times I watched them get bottled up on the line. They couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. That's how bad it was. And I know, you're missing a Renfro in that. I get that. But it's also like, you can't just lose your center and all of a sudden it all just implodes and it looks like that against one of the worst defenses and one of the worst teams in the FBS right now. I mean, that's where I guess my worry was like, it's going to take a dip. I'm not saying it's not going to take a dip when you lose an offensive lineman or a good offensive lineman like Renfro, experienced guy at center. But at the same time, that kind of dip where your backup center's launching the ball 15 feet over O'Neal's head, that worries me. That absolutely worries me. So I guess, I don't know. That's kind of where I was at coming off the weekend there.
But it's not like even when we did have Renfro against Miami. I mean, I know he's kind of coming off an injury, but it's not like even when he was there against Miami, we had anyone rush that well. The whole first half, I remember, man, they kept getting bottled up, and Dylan Jones only finished with 73 yards. Like we haven't had a 100-yard rusher yet this season against two non-Power 5 Power 4 teams. So that's a little concerning.
What does a defensive front like Alabama pose to you then? That's the question. What is a defensive front with some actual like road? Like we were talking about it. That was it Heinzen when they were facing Miami of Ohio there, and we're like, he gave up 30 sacks at the end of that game. It's like, what's he gonna do against Alabama if we got to throw him out there? What's this guy gonna do? It's like, that's my worry. That is my biggest worry. I look at this entire team right now. And everybody's like, they can point in different directions. If you want to be mad at Luke Fickell for one thing and one thing only, it's that. It's that offensive line that's there right now. That's the only reason I'd be upset. I don't think it's even coaching. I think, honestly, and I said it, my uncle and I were sitting there watching it, and we were talking about, we're like, Jeff Grimes had to get real creative with this offense towards that second half because nothing was there because the offensive line can't block. So he had to get real creative and he had to find ways to get around it. And that's what he did with the end around. But how many times can you run an end around before it just gets bottled up in the backfield and you're going for nothing at all there? So,
I mean, And I mean, the other part of that, the other problem with that too, though, is then you get if you can't run the ball, there's play action isn't going to be there either, which is a big part of the offense too. So it's like, I don't know. They got to figure it out. I know they put Malman over to left tackle, thank God. And then Emerson Mandel kicked him out to right tackle. So, I mean, that kind of solved the tackle situation. The pocket definitely looked a lot cleaner. But now, like, the interior of the line is, like, a problem. So now we can't run. So, I don't know. I don't know what you do. The depth is very concerning. So that's a huge problem.
Yep. No, I was looking over at the PFF grades there, and Riley Malman, he's 75 was what he graded at the run block. Emerson Mandel graded 67, and then after that, Joe Brunner 64, and then from there, the next highest run blocking grade came to Eugene Hilton.
Oh my God!
At a 60. I mean, Ballard at a 60, Tyrell
And
Henry at a
moving.
60. You had Aduka at the running back who barely got in there at a 60. You don't find another offensive lineman on this list until you get all the way down to Ryan Corey, I believe the third string.
He's the back. Yeah, he's the backup to the back. Where was Kadenko at?
Kadinko, where is
You got to scroll down pretty far, I think.
Oh my Gandhi, 31. He's the
Oh
worst
my
graded
God.
run blocker on the entire team.
He's probably the worst graded run blocker in all of. If you could filter that out to the entire country, he's probably at the bottom of that list.
He graded in at a 41 in run blocking. 41. Okay, so that's our bad. That's our bad. We're going to get off our bad, okay? We're going to get off our bad. We're going to reset. We're going to come back from the break, and we're going to get to some good because there was good. We want to hear the good. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Badger Talk here tonight, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. Christian's going to come back. We're going to talk some good about this Badger team on the backside of the ad break, so make sure you come back here. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. We'll be back. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment here is brought to you by our great friends at Casa M Spice, the low sodium, clean label, no fillers, no MSG. You heard low sodium, you're like, what's this guy talking about? No salt? Is this guy crazy? I'm telling you what, the seasoning blend that they came up with, you don't need salt. It's got the perfect smoke. It's got the perfect flavor. It replaces salt. It replaces pepper. They have everything that you need. Check out the Facebook. I was throwing pictures on there all weekend. I was making ribs up for the Packer game there. I made chicken up after the Badger game there, talking about Brewers in there too. This next weekend, I'm thinking I'm going to throw a brisket together. I really am. I'm thinking I'm throwing a brisket together with some Casa and Spice on there. You guys got to make sure you check it out there because, maybe, just maybe, I'll do a giveaway there with some Casa and Spice. You can get yourself some. Get yourself some across all social media. Find them, Casa and Spice. You can go to their links. You can find them out there. And then also, you can find them at Foreman's or any Ace Hardware out there. Christian's going nuts over there because the Brewers just scored. As you guys know, pre-recorded here, but the Brewers just scored, so Christian's going nuts. I'm watching it, and I'm trying to go through this.
Try not to give it away.
I'm like trying to go through this ad read, and I'm like, yeah, finally they get a hit with runners in scoring position against these pesky Rangers. And I'm just getting these like dancing. I'm like, so anyways, Casa M Spice there, the bold flavor that you need to add to your meats or your grilling experience. So we have our Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week award to give away. So every week we give our Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week. Whoever's on when I do the Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week gets to name theirs. So Christian, who is your Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week?
I feel like it's a cop out, man, but I got to go Micah Parsons, right? The dude only played 45% of the snaps on defense and made he made a huge difference. Even he had one sack, but still forced an interception. It was just 3 pressures. Just dude was first game he didn't practice with the team almost at all. He had 1 week under his belt, potentially a bad back, and he still had that big of an impact in the game. It has to be Parsons, right?
Brought a different kind of juice to that locker room. It just seemed like everybody fed off of him when he came out of the tunnel. It was just awesome. Watching that video when he came out the tunnel and Matt LaFleur called him the night before and is like, hey, I want you to come out last. And it usually be Xavier McKinney. He's like, I'll have you come out last. That was awesome. And I'm glad that they did it because he got his moment. He loved it. He's like, it was unreal and nothing he's ever felt. You love that. You love that for a guy. And all these Lions and everything fans were like, you're getting this bad player in there. And I think I can't remember who was on NFL Countdown. They're like, oh no, it's I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I can see his face. He's like, oh, you don't know what kind of player you're getting. He could be a bad player for your team and he could take you in the opposite direction. And I was like, or maybe he's going to fuel them too.
Was that former Patriots line? It was that former Patriots linebacker.
Yes. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's going to drive me nuts. But yes.
Teddy Bruschi? 100%.
I think so.
Teddy Bruschi. I think it was Teddy Bruschi. I almost said Junior Sale, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gone now. So I really do. Who it was.
I think it was him. And he said just made that stupid comment. Cam Newton making that stupid comment saying Michael Parsons doesn't take your
dumb hat on.
Yeah, shut up. Take that stupid hat off and be quiet. Just stop.
God.
Stop.
Dumb.
So yeah, I agree. Micah Parsons definitely deserves it. In my Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week, I'm going with Edgerrin Cooper because Michael Parson may have gotten all the eyeballs and everybody was watching him,
Mm-hmm.
but Edgerrin Cooper secretly, quietly, I don't know if it was quietly if you really watched him, but secretly outside of those eyes, had a fantastic game. 12 tackles, 8 solo tackles. He was all over the place. He was making tackles in the open field. He was disrupting plays. He was the way that the Packers, and I know we're getting off schedule, but the way that they chased guys down like they were all working for a paycheck was unreal. Just watching that. So, I mean, Edgerrin Cooper was right there with all of them all game long. He is, I mean, on his way to be one of the best linebackers of football, and I will stamp that and send it to the bank. I will stamp that twice and send it off there. He is on his way to being one of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker when it's all said and done in football. He is just that darn good. So let's talk about some good now with the Wisconsin Badgers, Christian. We were talking about the bad before we went to the break there. Let's get to some good, okay? So let's go with before we get to our losers, because we're going to go winners and losers of week 2 for the Wisconsin Badgers. Let's start with the winners, okay? Who were some of your winners coming off of this last weekend here against Middle Tennessee?
Oh, boy. Some of the winners. I don't know if we already talked about Danny O'Neal a little bit, but otherwise, I think we kind of talked about this. Just the wide receiver group, kind of just a bunch of those guys looked good. Vinny Anthony looked good again, but like you said, I think Jaden Ballard, he was pretty quiet the first week especially after you heard a lot about him in spring practice and stuff. He was pretty quiet all fall camp. Didn't hear him a whole lot. Didn't do a whole lot the first game, but yeah, I think he did pretty well second game, didn't he? Like I know he caught a touchdown. Like I said, I think
catches, 73 yards, big catch there.
Yeah, big playability, which is exactly what we wanted from him, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I'll go with Jaden Ballard.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Jaden Ballard. I like the Lance Mason. Lance Mason is slowly, like we talked about it leading into the season, because it was when his name always slips me, that transfer tight end they had coming in, who they were
Tanner Koziel.
Tanner Koziel. He was coming in, and it was like we felt like for once they were going to have a good tight end since like Ferguson left.
Yep.
And then he was, turned out to be a pansy, and he left. I'm not going to say that he was a pansy, but he was a pansy anyways, and he left. And we were like kind of sitting here like, okay, who's going to be the guy? Is it going to be Tucker Ashcraft? And then he got banged up, and it's like, okay, now we got this guy in Lance Mason. We got Steck in there. Who's going to be the guy for this Wisconsin Badger team? Lance Mason looks good. He looks like all of everything that we wanted to see and then some with a tight end. 7 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown there in that one. I mean, he fits all of that frame, 240 frame there for him. He's a big tight end, gets the job done for you, blocks well. He does everything you want in a tight end. I mean,
that's what I was kind of worried about that too. It's a good thing they got that left tackle thing figured out with Malman, because if they would have kept Heinzen in there, I was worried they were just going to keep Mason into block or at least chip nonstop.
Yep.
And so like he wouldn't have been nearly as effective in the passing game, right?
Yeah, 100%. And then it also affects the running backs too, because you want to run those backs out of the backfield a little bit too. And it's like, okay, do we have to keep the backs back? Do we have to throw a double back package in there? Do we have to keep Jackson Aker in the game more than a guy like Dupree or that? Because we got to keep a blocker in that backfield. So what does that affect? So yeah, I would completely agree with you on that one there. So yeah, I like the Lance Mason. Were there any losers, I guess you could say, any losers or maybe a position group? I just want to ask that, a position group that might be the loser from week 2.
Yeah, I mean, let's just beat a dead horse. The offensive line, that is our loser for week 2, right?
Yep. I don't think there's any other way to code it. I mean, is there any other position group that really struggled? I mean, Vakos he didn't really do anything. He had 6 extra points. He was fine. Bertram's was fine, wasn't he? Was the punting game fine in that one? I think the punting game was fine, wasn't it?
He only had to punt twice. He kicked. He averaged almost 40 yards a punt. I mean, it's not terrible. I don't think that's up to his standards, but I don't think it's like bad.
Not bad. No, not bad. So yeah, I mean, the only I think it's going to be the thing that we talk about all season. The biggest problem with the Wisconsin Badgers will be that offensive line, and it's kind of irritating because of the offseason of thinking to ourselves that we were going to return to this ground and pound team who is going to try to play bully ball every once in a while. And I don't feel like we can play bully ball. I feel like we are, I don't even know what is the identity of the Wisconsin Badgers? Can you name that one to me? What is the identity of this team right now? Because they're not a ground and pound team. I don't see them as a ground and pound team because we couldn't ground and pound against two FCS teams, or well, an FBS team that I don't really count as an FBS team. They lost to an FCS team. So yeah. I mean, what is the identity of this team?
Honest, I couldn't tell you. I mean, like you said, I think they want to be a running team. I know that's kind of Jeff Grimes' MO. But again, I don't want to just keep throwing them under the bus, but I think if you don't have a healthy or good offensive line, it's hard to run the ball. And then if you can't run the ball, you can't do play action. And then just it kind of limits what you want to do. So
Yep.
And then if you're limited, you're predictable. So just I think they want to be something, but they can't because they're limited with what they have at offensive line.
So now Jeff Grimes, it's going to really test Jeff Grimes. Like we were talking there in that second half against Middle Tennessee, he adjusted. He started running those end arounds. He started running a little trickery in there. What do we see him do against Alabama to try to open it up? Right. And maybe to open up the run game, he's got to spread it all out. He's got to widen everything out. Maybe pull the tight ends a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to have to do here. But you got to do something to get the run game going, because if the run game becomes completely stagnant, this offense is going to become stagnant. Because as much as we like to talk about the playmakers that they keep bringing in and this and that, I just don't feel like it's going to be enough at the end of the day to beat some of these really good teams that are on this schedule. So let's look at, I'm looking at this team right now. The explosive play still worries me because we saw it once again against Middle Tennessee, a couple of big plays that led Middle Tennessee down the field. And that's the only reason why it seemed like they even got in scoring position, was these big plays. Do the big plays still worry you? Because they're making me nervous once again.
Yes and no. I mean, I think if this was any other year, I'd be like, yeah, that really, really worries me. Alabama this year hasn't really had any explosive big plays yet. Not saying they won't, but I mean,
oh, don't say that.
I know. I'm jinxing it. But like, it's Florida State. I mean, they're showing they're a pretty good team right now, but then they played UL Monroe and beat them 73-0, and they still, like, their advanced stats and analytics for like explosive plays still isn't there. Like, I don't know. I'm worried. Obviously, I say that, and now they're gonna absolutely just go off on some huge plays. And also, I probably didn't help. They didn't have that Ryan Williams play against UL Monroe either. I'm sure he'll probably be back against us, so I'm sure he'll
100%.
Have some 70-yard play against us. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. The defense has looked pretty good. The only defense they've given up all year was after that fluke interception that O'Neal threw at the end of the first half there, and they're backed up, whatever. But I don't know. I'd like to say this secondary, and like between the pass rush, if the pass rush can get home, which is asking a lot against an Alabama offensive line with like Caden Proctor, but if we can get home and like just not let them, have any deep passing plays, and if like their safeties can stay over the top of everything and limit everything, make Alabama do 10, 12, 13 yard or 13 play drive down to the field to score. Maybe hold them to a field goal, just limit the explosiveness. Then I think we have a pretty good shot. But I mean, boy, it's Alabama, like no one's taking them seriously right now. So like, this is like a perfect opportunity. Oh, back to a Power 4 school. Now let's just show that the Florida State game was a fluke, or Florida State's just really, really good. And let's just, destroy Wisconsin. Right.
Yeah, I feel like that was my worry, was they weren't going to get all that aggression out on UL Monroe, so they're going to have to save some up for Wisconsin. So that's what we're going to find out about this week here. So any final thoughts? Any final thoughts before I have to let you go here about this Badger team moving forward here against Alabama coming up this week? Anything you got coming up here on Badger Backer coming up this pretty soon?
Yeah, just preview stuff, talking about I have one coming out soon about what's at stake for both programs, because I think right now this is a big game for both teams. It might not seem like it to the outsider looking in. I think it's like, Alabama's just going to destroy Wisconsin, move on next game, right? But I think, like I said, Alabama has a lot to prove, that they're not, a program on the decline. And I think this is a game where, let's see, Wisconsin, where they really are, right? Are they actually turning things around, or is it just the same old Wisconsin we've seen the last few years? So that's what I'm excited to see on Saturday. Like, I by no means think we're going to win this game, but I think if we can keep, it's a 21.5 point line right now, right? We're 21.5 point underdogs. If we keep it like under 2 touchdowns, I think I'm not one for moral victories, but I think that's just like a good benchmark of like showing where we are right now. Like we're not going to compete for the college football playoff, but I think we can, finish. That gives us a good chance to finish in the top half or third of the Big Ten, right?
Yep. No, I'm all about moral victories. Give me a moral victory for once here. That's all I'm looking for. Like keep it close. If they, like you said, a 2-touchdown game at Tuscaloosa for this team, that one I'd be okay. I'd walk away from that game and I'd be okay. And I'd be like, okay, I'm feeling better about this team. Maybe they have a chance to go beat some of these other teams on the schedule. If they get completely doors blown off, now I'm worried. Now I'm worried heading even into Maryland. Now I'm worried about Iowa. I'm worried about this whole schedule then because it gets Michigan, Illinois, Indiana. It all gets scary. It all gets scary there the rest of the way. So I mean, make sure you guys are checking out Christian across all social media. The Badger back there, or Christian Borman across all social media platforms there. But thank you, as always, Christian, for stopping by here. He's going to be back every single Wednesday here to talk Badger football and Badger sports with us. When basketball rolls around, he'll be here. He'll be here for everything like that. So thank you, as always, Christian. We'll be back here on the backside of the ad break. Kyle's going to stop by. We got NFL to talk about. We'll be back here after this quick commercial break.